sweet Jesus.
Hell of an intro. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the second episode of Franchise Review. I'm your host and sometimes referee, Zach Sat Pearson, and I'm joined by the man who can beat the ass of any little niglet and ninja in Dead or Alive, a Havon Dat Morris.
Hola, ¿cómo estás, mi amigos?
All right, so as if it wasn't blatantly obvious by the title, we're going to be talking about the entire Dead or Alive series, or I guess just the gaming franchise for the remainder of this video. And I know what you're thinking, well, why do you guys magically feel like you're qualified? First and foremost, there's not actually an authentication process. But if you want to know my DOA gangster, or lack thereof, let me just tell you. I'm one of the rare North Americans who's been playing the game since the first title. More than half of my life. I've been playing Dead or Alive close to 25 years. Because if this came out in 96, I was either 5 going into 6 or 6 going into 7, depending on the month or something like that the game came out. I don't have the exact month of that release, but I'm pretty sure it's on Wikipedia somewhere. Then I also got a hold of Dead or Alive Plus Plus, which, I don't know, people just assumed that I just couldn't count straight or something, which is dumb because at this point I'm 8 going into 9 or something like that in 1998. But no, they did do another version of it that was called Dead or Alive Plus Plus. And that was an arcade only situation, and if memory serves, it also never left Japan. But yeah, that's my history on it. Now, Haven, just out of curiosity, how long do you think you've been playing the Dead or Alive franchise?
About when it came over to North America, because it's one of the ifto facto franchises where you can actually create your own combos. But yeah, it came out in 1996, 2 years after I was born. So I was probably playing it about 10, 11. And I can say it's one of my favorite fighting games just for the fact that you could literally throw somebody through a wall.
Not the first time I've heard that. All right, so I guess one of the things we're going to do for the breakdown, because we somewhat develop a system, because even though there's not a lot of YouTube feedback on the franchise reviews, people watch them, people like them, or people just watch them and then they don't like or dislike them. Which, I mean, I tell everybody, you do what you feel. You don't have to like the video, you don't have to dislike the video. All right, so who created this? That man's name, if you can say it correctly, is Tomonobu Itagaki. No, I don't know if he has a middle name. I haven't been able to find anything, and it's Japan, so I'm assuming he doesn't. Middle names aren't actually all that common over there. So, who is he? Well, Tomonobu Itagaki was the lead designer and director for the vast majority of the franchise. The latest title he worked on was 4. So he ran Dead or Alive from the beginning to 4, or he ran it from 2 to 4. But for the time being, unless I find some other source of information, he's going to be the primary person we're referring to when we say the director or the lead developer. You want to think of Tomonobu Itagaki because, well, he started this train. He just got off it a little early. All right, now, as far as Dead or Alive, technically it's about 25, 26-ish years old. But the initial appeal of it was not actual smut, which is what it's known for currently. And I'm not even going to act like they didn't earn that title, even though they act like they don't want it or they want to be treated differently. It's just weird hypocritical logic, but that's another matter we'll get into later. But the initial appeal of it, as Haven somewhat stated, is that the fights had more dramatic elements to them that could be utilized based on how you played the game. For example, I could get somebody who's extremely combo intensive, like say Jan Lee. He can do a lot of punches. All of his kicks are very powerful, and even though they're not usually in a combo, if they're in a combo, they could lead to possible chaining into another combo, or they could be used to start a combo, but they can't really carry a combo. Or I could use somebody like Bass, who is genuinely just a ripoff of Hulk Hogan, who is far smaller combo window. But what you really want to do is create situations where he can grab somebody and throw them or slam them because he is meant to be a wrestler. He is a literal wrestler in the canon. He's not just a grappler style character that does a lot of grabs. Imagine fighting somebody and you're in the most boring, mundane stage ever. Let's say you're on top of a hill. One character knocks you down to a certain ledge or off a cliff, and you crash through a glass ceiling, and now the fight is in that room. And then just to get some revenge, you, I don't know, drag and kick him through a wall. Oh, and look, now you're falling down the side of a cave or into a waterfall area or into some secret ninja village. That makes Dead or Alive inherently more of a spectacle, because where some games in 3D, they wanted to show off how realistic the characters could move in combat. Some wanted to show off how cool at the time, and they're extremely mundane now, how cool they could make a super combo look or a special move. Dead or Alive focused on trying to find that balance of watching entertainment and participation entertainment. You know, not everyone plays football, but hundreds of millions of people have watched football, whether it's soccer or North American football. I'm not trying to start that war right now. But the thing is that you have to remember, even though that concept was new at the time, it wasn't exclusive to them. However, they started refining what they had. And when you refine something, even if you don't create it, you can eventually find yourself in a situation where unique situations can happen, or you evolve it and transform it instead of saying bland and the same. Like later on, team combos became prevalent and they were cool to look at, although for some eerily stupid reason, unless it's a new character, none of the old characters ever went around the entire character list and had a special tag team combo or tag team throw with the entire cast. So from basically, I want to say they introduced it in two. So from 1998 to 2013, or rather, I guess 14 and a half if you count last round Dead or Alive 5, because there's multiple versions of DOA 5, and there's multiple versions of a lot of the games in the series. They had tag throws, and characters would never gain new ones to go with all the other cast members in the game. So you could put, we'll say for example, someone like Helena on the same team as Bass, which that's an interesting dichotomy. Helena using Bokuho and being able to duck down and go into a stance where she's completely unhittable by high attacks. And Bass, who, as I mentioned earlier, Hulk Hogan ripoff, is a grappler who does powerful blows. Now in the first game, okay, there might be limitations, especially given the hardware, on who can and can't do a tag throw. But then that was 1998 when they introduced these, because I don't remember if DOA++ had the tag throws. You speed forward to 2013, 14, 15, DOA 5, and all the other iterations of DOA 5 up to last round. Bro, they still don't have a tag throw. And the only time she gets a new tag throw is if it's a new character. That just seems all kinds of weird to me. But that is the primary appeal. They had a very simple concept, which was try to get animations that feel human or look human and have a combat system that somewhat mirrors a rock, paper, scissors system. Or, I'm sorry, parry, strike, throw. Block is universal. Throw beats parry. Strike loses to parry, but strike beats throw. You know, simple shit. But, like I said, with a lot of these fighting games, that once they get a niche, they refine it, or they keep modifying it and updating it so they can, you know, improve on it. And of course, you know, maintain a certain level of quality to make sure people can still want to buy their product. Tekken 7 only exists because it built upon everything from Tekken 1 to Tekken 6. And we're going to get into that. But before we get into that weird situation, I want to ask you, Haven, in your opinion, which Dead or Alive games do you think were the best games or brought it into that golden era of positive perception?
I think for story and just the more to find out about the characters, you'd have to go with Dead or Alive 1 and Dead or Alive 2, because those focus mainly on the story. When you get to Dead or Alive 3, 4, and 5, it's more of a brawl fest. They're trying to show you, hey, look what we can do with the technology now. Because if you play it, you know Ryu Hayabusa and I forget her name, were a
Ayane.
great tag. Yeah, were a great tag like team duo. But now you have people like Leon and Tengu and Brad Wong coming through in Dead or Alive 2 and 3, and now they're adding more characters and they're adding depth to their roster, but they're not really fleshing out their backgrounds like they did in one and two. So I think the best is if you went and played Dead or Alive one. If they were to do like a remastered version with today's technology, I think people would really like the aspect of Dead or Alive one with all the things that they've learned over the years. And my favorite character, hands down, is Genfu. Little old man beat your ass every time with his
Like
technical. I
he's
think it's
people still think
Tai
he's top
Chi.
tier. Yeah, I think he's still top tier in DOA 5 too. Last time I looked at a tier list, Genfu was just like a fucking monster.
But he's got the balance where most people are striking and or generally grappling. Genfu is like striking, grappling, and he can counter very well. Where you don't get as many characters that are all around like Genfu. You get people like Ryu Hayabusa, who is mainly gonna strike with you, and then he has a few grapple moves until you add his tag team partner, the chick again, and now he
Ayane.
has, yeah, Hayane. She has more grapples than he does, but when you tag team them together, you can basically hit an infinite combo because you can keep throwing that tag grapple and have Hayabusa come out, beat their ass, do his little spinning suplex, and then when they bounce off the ground, you can tag in Hayane and she can just go to town on grappling and breaking limbs and shit.
Yeah, they got rid of that real quick, but I think I know what you're talking about. So you say 2 and 3 were the best games, or the
One
best in
and
the series?
two, one and two are the best in the series for story. If we're going with just straight up gameplay for how much time I got out of it, Dead or Alive 4 is my go-to because they have a Spartan in it. But that's a whole different game franchise.
Okay, well for me personally, I'll say the best game in the series. It's a toss up for me between my, or at least I'll say my top two, DOA 4 and DOA Dimensions. However, there is a, I think it's Japan only, which again aggravates me, exclusive version of Dead or Alive called Dead or Alive 3 Ultimate or Dead or Alive 3.1. In fact, I'm going to look it up because I can do that with the magic of editing.
On what I'm looking at, we have a Dead or Alive 5 Ultimate Last Round.
I don't remember if that version of Dead or Alive 3 came out to America or if it was just like a patch. I'm going to try to look it up.
And the reason people see Ryu Hayabusa in Dead or Alive series is because this Tambua, however you say his name, actually worked on Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah, he even ended up making Ninja Gaiden 1, so he added Ryu, or rather, he asked could he use Ryu, because he was a fan and also, he liked the games and shit like that. He ended up making, all the 3D games for the franchise except for the third one. For me, the best games are Dead or Alive Dimensions, which is the 3DS exclusive one, because it's basically Dead or Alive 4, but you get every single situation going from Dead or Alive 1 to Dead or Alive 4 in their story, and it's more coherent. Not that the stories, were illogical and shit. They kind of were, but it actually puts them in an order so you can see the chronological order of things or understand what was going on. Because if you played Dead or Alive 2 like I did, and well, that was like the first time the game was in English, and they went back to no English after that for like 3 titles. When you got to the end of the game with Ayane, and it just says, "I am the Miyama, I am the Mugen Tenshin Tengu," and it's like a thunderstorm in the background. The camera's freaking out. Her eyes are glowing a little bit. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck is this shit? She a bad guy? Why the fuck was everybody nice to her and shit like that? It was just weird as fuck. DOA Dimensions clear up a lot of stuff, but at the same time, this just goes to show you something that we've known our whole lives. Japanese video game developers are inherently not good at storytelling or the concept of story structure. They want to use video game logic or personal feelings and logic instead of a base structure. And, well, this was the era when it was truly biting people in the ass. Because, they used to just try to either have a scrolling text thing for a lot of the 2D games, and you got to go off that, or there was a story in the manual. And, hey, if you rented the game, or if you got it used, the chances are that manual wouldn't be there, which I've always found weird because most people, they only read the manual once ever. So why would you not just immediately put it back in the game case? So that's why DOA Dimensions, because it's basically Dead or Alive 4 style combat, but it's telling the story coherently and in order, starting at DOA 1 going all the way through. And it's even got more stages and unique settings than the original Dead or Alive 1 and Dead or Alive 2. Which, hey, fucking love it for that. In fact, I don't understand why they never ported that game to another system. Fuck, if they put that game on the Switch right now, I'd buy it. But to be fair, I'm not sure anymore, because if they did port it, who's to say they wouldn't add $2,000 worth of DLC, which isn't even close to hyperbole. They might actually do that. So I'd rather not have that title be sullied. Now, the other title I pick, Dead or Alive 5. And I know what you're thinking, bitch, you hate all them cosmetics. Well, yeah, I fucking do. But it was because of the combat and the evolution of it. Just going from the first version, Dead or Alive 5, to the final version, Dead or Alive, which is called Last Round, or LR, they actually started adding mechanics and explaining things better. When you first get Dead or Alive, the tutorial is pretty traditional. I think it's got like 20 parts to it. You can finish it in 30 minutes or less. When you get Dead or Alive Last Round, that tutorial has over 100 different things on it. That tutorial could run you a couple hours. Holy shit. But it's all useful information. It's not just fluff that implies depth. It was basic information, situational information based on where you are on the screen, where a wall or ceiling is, and ground game stuff, as well as tag related stuff and combo related structuring, and also understanding base mechanics. Now, don't get me wrong, in theory, a fighting game is supposed to teach you that, and they do, but rarely does it go to this level. They went to like Guilty Gear Xrd levels. And if you don't know, the 3D Guilty Gears, when you get to Xrd or Revelator, Xrd, Revelation, Revelator, whatever, 2, they will give you character-specific tutorials and explanations and guidelines on how they're supposed to fight another character in the game. So if you have a hard time with a character in particular, there's literally a button somewhere in that game and in the character tutorials or training that gives you advice on matchups. They're basically the only ones that do that. And it was a beautiful sight. Not to mention, they added a specific new function on top of one of their old functions, so that way it meshes in with the game naturally, instead of, making you think that, okay, I've got to throw away the information I learned. I'm building on top of it over the years. And it was, it's called the power blow, but what they call it differs. Some people say power blow stun. Some people say stun, cripple, crumple, which I don't know if crumple even makes sense because you don't curl into a ball. But what happens is that they created 2 versions of it. In the first version of Dead or Alive 5, you get notifications on the screen based on the move you did, what level it is to cause a stun. When it gets to level 3, that's when it gets a red outline around the words power blow or power or strike blow or something like that. I don't have the game open in front of me because, I'm keeping my information directly in front of me, so it'd look weird if I was trying to play the game and look at the shit. And what happens is, if you hit somebody with the move that can create this power blow, which they eventually tell you how to do directly when you see that character, the power blow and power launcher we'll get into next, you create a situation where the character is so stunned, they are unable to do anything in retaliation. Now, normally in Dead or Alive, and this is where you can truly learn how good or bad a player is, when you do a combo, you don't just have to eat the combo because you didn't block right. They can actually, at different points in the combo, parry you. Because remember what we said about the rock, paper, scissors system. Parry, strike, throw. Now here's how it works. If I'm doing a punch combo, because, I don't know, my character's a boxer. By the way, that's like the only fighting style not in the fucking game. So I'm pressing the punch button repeatedly. No matter what I'm doing, chances are I'm pressing the punch button, right? Now, you about to mollywop me with an 8-hit combo, but I keep parrying at the 3rd or 4th blow. Why? Because I have learned when I'm allowed to parry and not parry throughout your own combo, and based on your attack information and where it lands on my body, I know if it's a medium blow, which is a blow that's meant to hit the center of the torso, high blow, which is, shoulders and above, or a low blow, which is, below the torso or lower torso and legs. So I've been in many situations where I fought somebody and they're doing the most basic combo, a punch or a kick, and they don't understand why they can't get more than 2-hit or 3-hit off me. They don't understand it. Mind you, these are new people, and I'll even tell them while I'm playing them, because look, if it's a fighting game, me stomping your ass is not some ego boosting shit. Like, when you play a game, the goal is to have fun or have a challenge, or both. Fighting games is one of the only times I can do both. So if someone is dramatically below me, hell yeah, I'm gonna give them advice while I'm playing them, because I feel like diminishing returns is kicking in for my opponent. So if I want to be a dick and keep doing all this, and what's going to happen is they're just going to not play me anymore if they don't feel like they can advance, or something I could light a fire in them, which is rare, and they want to have like a bunch of matches and they want to train with the game by themselves and yada 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 yada. But I'd rather, speed up my chances of getting a challenge by helping you the fuck out. Mind you, I skipped out on DOA Ultimate. I pretty much only played DOA Ultimate at a friend's house, but I put in enough hours to understand that system. But when they got to 5, that's when they started doing that expansion. But here's the cool part. When they got to last round and they started upgrading the versions of Dead or Alive 5, Dead or Alive 5 Ultimate, which you think that would be the last one, Dead or Alive 5 Plus, Dead or Alive 5 last round, all of them, they added 2 things that I thought were cool as shit. Power Launcher, which technically not a lot of use out of it, depending on who your character was. And they added Critical Blow or Power Blow tag switch. Coolest shit ever. Now, as I mentioned earlier, 5 was the last time the tag team throws, combos, and situations were around before they went solo, which was bullshit. But here's the thing. What could happen is you can create a situation where your character's at the end of the combo and there's a light stun or a level 2 stun on the enemy. But the game doesn't allow you to continue the combo anymore. So you've gone as far as you can go. Unless you press the tag button, in which case your partner can come out and they can continue the combo. And then the game will eventually set a predetermined limit, make sure, the player doesn't get too much of an advantage. That being said, and this is why I tell people never play with the game on default HP bars, which I fucking hate that shit. In the olden days, and really even now, what could happen was they could do one combo that basically takes 80% of your HP, because the kick-in time for the game to automatically make all their moves miss and for you to fall down doesn't kick in. So fuck those small energy bars. I've always hated small energy bar shit. I don't even know why there's a setting for it. I've never ever seen another fighting game that really does multiple HP bar settings outside of like maybe Smash Bros. But that's a whole nother mess. So what could happen now is you could do a tag power blow. So you're done with your combo, you can't do a power blow in this time, or if you try to do it, they'll recover too fast and they'll just parry you. You can press down forward tag or down back tag, and your character that comes out will immediately go into a strike blow specifically meant to continue the combo for when they come out. And it's a beautiful sight. You could also link it into the recently added super attack, which you could do only one per match if memory serves, once your HP gets past the 50% or at the 50% mark on the spot, and it'll link up. That was cool because now it made it so you actually have to put more effort and thought into how you utilize your tag partner, because instead of switching them out or having them only do a powerful tag team throw, you had another option and utilization for them. And the power launcher, which I told you I'd get into it. Now, this one is debatable, depends on who you are or hell, what stages you're on sometimes, but power launcher works similar to power blow. If your enemy is in a stun state of a grade 2, 9 times out of 10, you can activate power launcher, which will send the enemy upwards in the air at an insane height. Like like there were rockets temporarily attached to them at the waist, just some illogical height. But since they're not touching the ground, and much like in Tekken, you can start comboing somebody. And when you combo this person, it's not going to end until they drop to the ground. So now they have no chance of parrying out of it. Now see, earlier, as I mentioned, the game does allow at certain intervals in a combo for people to parry or possibly parry out of your attack if they guess the angle of your strike. That's true. But with Power Launcher, that possibility is removed. However, the trade-off is that you're very, very, very limited to what type of techniques you can utilize and combo strings you can do, because you don't have the full body of the person available to be hit. Because once you hit them, even with the light punch, their inertia immediately changes, and they don't just still hit the ground like a hard rock. They somehow start floating around like a paper bag or something, because DOA physics is a very unique situation. Even in its own lore and canon, it's a very unique situation. But that could still lead to a situation where you make it easy to knock the opponent into a danger zone, which can do a lot of damage. Or, as we mentioned earlier, those situations where you knock them into a second plateau or area of the stage, which again comes with high ass damage, because while they're falling, there's nothing they can do, and when they land, they're going to take damage no matter what. Now, the final new feature they added, and this is a cool one, but it's hard to pull off, is a aerial strike system. Oh my God, is it beautiful. I believe there is literally only 2 stages you can do it on, and it's a beautiful sight. The way it works is if your character is in a particular part of a stage where they're about to fall to the ground and they're hanging on it, your character who knocked them into that situation can literally decide if they're going to throw them down to the next area, guaranteeing that they do damage, if they try to do a small combo before they knock them down and hit the ground in the next area, or if they're just going to let them fall and just take some damage. It's a beautiful sight. In fact, I'm going to make sure that when I'm recording this, when I'm talking about this at this particular segment, there's something on screen that shows you what I'm talking about. Oh my God, it's so cool. And the thing though is that even though that cliffhanger situation is situational, no pun intended, there are other settings and setups in the game where if you do your base super combo or you do a hard knockback, you can create a situation where a character creates something that makes the stage change or makes the area you're fighting in change, like going through a wall, going through a floor, going through a ceiling, or in the case of fighting in a circus that isn't, that hasn't set up everything yet, getting launched out of a human rocket, a human cannon, a cannon meant to launch humans. Yeah, DOA crazy, bruh. In some old stages, you could even fight in the middle of the street and you could knock somebody into oncoming traffic. And one of the main goals with the fighting entertainment is that there were situations on almost every stage where you could create some incident that led you into a different area of the stage, or in some cases, a different stage that was like around the corner or down the street from it, not even partially joking. And even in 5, they brought back old stages, which they remodeled or redesigned and revamped to utilize these new features of the stages morphing and changing based on how the players are fighting. And that's a very unique situation. But Zex, Mortal Kombat been doing that forever. Yeah, Mortal Kombat was doing it, but here's the thing. Mortal Kombat wasn't the first to do it in 3D. Also, Mortal Kombat didn't do stuff like that for a long time. Falling off a stage, that was a thing. Being knocked up into a different stage or area of a stage, that was also a thing. But this level and this type to this extent, they didn't really start picking up on until we got to like the early PS3 era when like Mortal Kombat 9 came out and people were saying, man, this is possibly one of the best games of the franchise or best fighting games of the year, blah, 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 blah. So it's not like I'm saying they invented this, but what did I mention earlier? People who stick with a subject matter or style and they refine it or just keep improving on it can eventually transform and evolve it. This is proof of that concept. Now, with that being said, we've talked about the glory. We've talked about the good. I'm surprised we haven't talked about the titty, but we're getting very close to that. Let me ask you something, Haven. When do you think things really started to go ass backwards south for Dead or Alive as a franchise?
So I'd be remiss in talking about DOA going backwards if I didn't talk about the way that the storylines go, because we've been over the fact that they are not really good at structuring a storyline. But sometimes the storylines are just weird as shit, and not a lot of people are into that, or as back then. But not a lot of people are getting into the fact that Japanese people like weird stuff. And I would be remiss if I didn't point out Zach's storyline.
Let me just say right now, I'm aware that Zach is based off of Dennis Rodman. I'm also aware that Zach is, for lack of a better term, possibly one of the earliest stereotypes that have ever existed in Japan of an African person. I would officially like to declare him non-affiliated of any form of minority community due to his chronic embarrassment and stereotypical nature.
So we get into the fact that we're not really getting stories that we can cling to. Yeah, they're memorable. A lot of them are memorable, but they either don't do anything with those in the others in the next series, or they tack on some weird ass cosmetic that you gotta pay $4 for, and then you got a $4 cosmetic that really adds nothing to the game. So we're Dead or Alive is going down here. We're losing story, and we're adding things to buy that have no real aspect to the game. Cool. I can make I forget his name, but he fights basically. He's your basic Bruce Lee character, and now you can make him look like Bruce Lee. Okay, cool. But did you add a story of why he wanted to look like Bruce Lee? Maybe you do one of those weird ass stories where he comes to our world and actually meets Bruce Lee, the person that he's based off of. Because I'm gonna be honest, if there was a storyline like that, I'd play the shit out of it. Because you know they're gonna have you fight Bruce Lee at the end of it. But as a whole, the aspect of we need to add more cosmetics instead of add more story or add more mechanics that make the game better, or even going back and saying, hey, these were a couple of our popular things. Why don't we bring them back, or take the like I said, take the new technology and remake the game and see how who comes and actually plays it. Because I would buy a whole new Dead or Alive 1 if they came back and did like they did with Resident Evil, but not typically, change it from the original storyline, but take it and bring it into this era's work engines. My face is just went numb. So if we were going to try to redeem these or make them more useful for people to play, not useful, more fun for people to play, I say stop spending all your creation time on jiggle fixes and can I make her skirt any shorter, and start putting some time in on actually vamping out a story. Because we got the movies, we got 1 and 2 and 3, but now they don't really have any storyline. Yeah, I can put a dude through a wall. Yeah, I'm really happy with their technical expertise on the fighting, how a lot of the characters' fighting styles actually look like actual fighting styles, but there's no story. Like, you get Zack and his little alien storyline. Ryu Hayabusa brings a little bit of his storyline over from Ninja Gaiden. Even Spartan had a little bit of a storyline when they brought him over, and which is it was a girl. I never took the armor off. Spartan 486, if I remember correctly. I never got a name for that. I have 458. Spartan 458. And if you
Yeah, I
look that
see it.
up, you should
Nicole.
be able to.
Her name's Nicole.
There you go. And so if we're talking about if we want to redeem this franchise, and you're going back to solo play, maybe have something like Mortal Kombat where they're all working towards a real goal. Because in Dead or Alive 1, it was a fighting tournament, and I don't remember particularly what the fighting tournament was for.
Okay, let me just embarrass Japanese 3D fighting games from the 90s real quick. And I'm not sorry because they know what they did and they didn't care. All right, so the story for Street Fighter, and why are you bringing up Street Fighter? Don't worry, it'll make sense later. The story of Street Fighter, everybody needs to stop Bison or whatever evil organization is trying to get fighting data and superhuman data, because what's primarily trying to happen is Bison is trying to take over the world and also find a body that can contain his energy, because Baiko has so much psycho power. I'm sorry, I have to say it that way. It's just fun to do. That he was actually, his body was deteriorating. Mind you, most of these details you don't even find out till like fucking, I don't know, 10 years after the original Street Fighter 2. But that was the point of the tournament. Find a body that could be a good host, or take the genetic information and special abilities through science and torture and other nefarious means of the people whose abilities he wanted, and go and make his super body or find a super body. And that super body was Cammy. Yeah, wrestle with that in your head. Now here's the thing. That's the exact same plot minus the flagship villain. Sometimes it's a corporation, sometimes it's an actual person, of Virtual Fighter and Dead or Alive. Virtual Fighter, Dural is that superhuman thing that they created with the information from various figures. But the host body was the mother of the ninja that you play in Virtual Fighter 5. Dead or Alive 5, they kidnapped a ninja to build the archetype of their superhuman project on. They stole Hayate's corpse and accidentally ended up reviving him. Also, Raidao worked for them, and Raidao was Ayane's father, who was a douchebag ninja and liked to go around stealing ninja techniques. So Doa Tech, or DOA Tech, depending on how you look at it, made sure that they utilized him in trying to build their superhuman super soldier that could do anything and beat anyone, and mass produce it and sell it to the world's nations. And that's how you got that clear translucent thing, I can't remember its name, that you fight in Dead or Alive 4. Alpha 152. And it's obvious Alpha 152 in and of itself is a reference to Dural, or plagiarism for Dural. They can both kind of sort of fly, and they're both kind of sort of light, but they both got extremely stupid and long combos. So, yeah, now you see that nobody really was getting creative. Everybody was just taking what Street Fighter did and changing one slight thing. Also, Virtual Fighter, yeah, they gave Tekken and Tecmo at the time their 3D fighting game engine, or they licensed it out so they could make Tekken and also make Dead or Alive. So Sega is kind of sort of like the architect for 3D fighting, whereas Capcom is the architect for 2D fighting, when you stop and think about it. Also, even though Capcom's been making 2D fighters, if you notice, almost none of them are in 360-degree space. Yeah.
Tecmo. KO Tecmo? Is that what we're talking about?
Oh, Koei and Tecmo merged, but before they merged, the company was just called Tecmo. Tecmo made most of the Dead or Alive games.
Yeah. So my memory is vague, but wasn't Alpha 152 also like there was a child of that thing, like Kasumi Alpha or something?
152 was a derivative of the Kasumi clone. Kasumi got cloned. Hayate was not cloned because he was a corpse, but they brought him back. But they got some of Kasumi's data and they started making clones of her. That's how you got Phase 5 in Dead or Alive 5. But also Alpha 152 is just one of over 100 Kasumi clones, but with the data from all of the Dead or Alive characters that they've been collecting from and shit like that.
See, if this was more clearly thought out, I would definitely be playing Dead or Alive
Let me ask you, do you
more.
have a 3DS?
So we go back to the fact that they need to either correlate all the characters like fight stories so you understand that DOA is not just a fighting tournament that we have out of the blue because we're gonna beat Dragon Ball Z and have a Tenkaichi tournament for some money just because we want to entertain people. Because a lot of the stages don't have people around to see or cameras to film this. They're just people that run into each other in the game, and it's like, oh, you're a strong person, let's fight. Goku complex, but if we were to do something like you said dimensions and bring that to consoles, I think we would see a really big jump in the more people that play it. And then again, you still have the people that play it because Genfu will still fuck everybody's shit up hands down every time.
You were just gonna ride that train till you die, won't you?
I mean, you show me a better counter in DOA and I will get on that dick too.
I can't because you don't have dimensions. One of the most dangerous characters in the franchise canonically is only in DOA dimensions, which is kind of fucked
Nah,
up.
that's some bullshit.
I bet you don't know who Shinden is.
Shinden, I vaguely he was in what game?
Dimensions.
I have
He's
my
only
list
in
here.
dimensions. Shinden is the father of Kasumi and Hayate and the brother of the first boss of Dead or Alive, Raidao. Shinden uses basically all of the ninja moves on one character. He is Kasumi. He is Hayate. He is Hayabusa. He is Ayane. He will fuck you up. Shinden. And for some reason, he looks black. It's weird. I don't know how the fuck that happened.
So we get a lot of these characters like Street Fighter, Tekken, that are made to be super soldiers. So my favorite character in Tekken is Brian, and I still don't know what the fuck his story is about, other than the fact that he's like a half cyborg or something. I just want fighting games to come out and actually be very detailed on the story that they're giving. Like, I would love to know what the fuck's up with Zack, and I would love to know Shinden. I would love to see this character because he sounds like he would be a pain in the ass as a final boss.
Your wish has been granted. By the way, let me just say shout out to the people that actually got a capture device for their 3DS, because them bitches hard to come by and the utilization of them is few and far between. So yeah, which game do you think was the beginning of the end for Dead or Alive as far as public perception and whatnot?
I'd probably have to go with like 4 going to 5. Like, once they started really getting on the train of putting in all the cosmetics, because once 5 got on the cosmetic train, it never left. Like, it was like, we're gonna make people look like Naruto, and you can get a fucking there is a map, I believe, in either 5 or 6 that you can literally have a Titan in the background.
Oh, I got that map.
Of course you did.
It was one of the only good cosmetics. It was a stage.
It doesn't do anything for the game.
It makes it more fun to play. Look, I didn't buy a stripper costume. Give me credit.
But you will. You know you will. Because everybody eventually buys a stripper costume.
No, the fuck I don't. God, it's so
stupid. But stripper outfit, you're gonna buy one, and you know you have.
I will record just for the purpose of this video at some point my entire outfit list, and you will see I didn't. I tried to get them transforming superhero shits because that was a cool concept. If you do a pose in the middle of a match, their outfits blow up and transform into a super suit.
I had to hit them with the Genfu palm strike that sends them flying across the map and hit that shit while
Oh
they were
my god, that
flying.
is the most illogical shit, but I fucking love it, but I hate it. I love doing it and I hate get hit by it. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, Genfu has a very specific parry that has been a fucking nightmare since whatever game he got it in. Where unlike most parries where he slams you to the ground or lightly knocks you back and then down to the ground, he sends you basically close to 20 real world feet across the screen in an illogical neck chop. So whatever you hit him with, I think it's a middle kick or possibly a middle punch. He parries it. He pulls you in, holds one of your hands, and he puts his other arm all the way up in the sky like he wants you to share his energy with them. Goku shit. Then he comes down with a chop on your neck, and instead of you going down and bouncing off the ground or something, you somehow go flying 20 feet away from him. Oh my god. I just had a
And
flashback.
for you out there that don't know, there are several characters that have really, really good throws that can't throw niggas that far.
Basically, and the one character that can throw anything, any height, Hayabusa. Hayabusa is vertical, and Genfu's is horizontal, which is way more dangerous. Fuck you, Genfu players. You good. I respect you, but I'm still salty. Now, for me, when it comes to the downfall, I'm not even gonna say fucking 5. I'm gonna say the downfall was 4. Now, don't get me wrong. I fucking love 4. 4 was fun. 4 was one of the first fighting games if released on the 360, if memory serves. But here's the thing about 4. There's a decent chunk of shit that they don't explain because the tutorial mode is practically non-existent. There is a combo exercise, which is a somewhat unique to Guilty Gear. Not combo challenge, don't get them mixed up. Combo exercise where the game shows you the moves the characters have, and your job is to do the moves and learn the motions or just eventually commit them to memory. Nothing wrong with that. Here's the problem. They don't explain a lot of their own combat system. So there are situations where, and this is where I wish I could get my boy Reggie in on this. In fact, fuck, I may cut him into this video later on. Reggie was pretty good. I think he even went to a couple tournaments at one point too. And Reggie started teaching me things that I thought was a glitch that they had just improved upon going from Dead or Alive 2 to Dead or Alive 4, but they weren't explained. Like the stun system. Don't get me wrong, power blows did not start till 5, but there was something that was a stun extender, a launch chance increaser, based on how you were hitting your opponent, and if you got them into a critical state or a critical blow or whatever version of stun they called it for 4. Again, I don't have these games open in front of my face because that's too much shit at once. Microphone equipment, wiki information, Google information, stats, developer names, all that shit, and the game, So I might splice things in there or have the editor splice things in at this point in time. But that's when I started noticing, oh shit, this is how they're doing those long combos. But also it's partially if your opponent guesses what button you're going to press wrong and stuff like that, which made it fun and interesting because that basically meant, with very few exceptions, like Tina throws or throws of some type, you can guess your way out of a lot of situations. You get popped up in the air and someone catch you in a throw, I'm not sure you could get out of there in 4. But here's the thing. 4 had its issues. 4 had patches. All that good jazz. But the fact that they didn't explain as much. So that led to situations where people will play the game. They want to have fun. They're getting into it because DOA is still a relatively unknown name, but it's been followed by Xbox fans because it's basically their own fighting game. Because Killer Instinct wasn't around. You know, this is like at least 10 years before Killer Instinct is revived. So what ends up happening is they go online to people who've been on Free Step Dodge. Shout out to Free Step Dodge, by the way. They're probably going to be mad at me for this video, but it is what it is. Who has been, holding down everything from PC mods for DOA to character guides, character studies, all that stuff, putting GameFAQs to shame. But hey, GameFAQs is GameFAQs. You don't come at the GOAT. But Free Step Dodge was a god tier website for Dead or Alive. And they even made mention of stuff like this and, different changes and minute stuff or how easy or hard it is, who has the best gravity, who has the lowest gravity, who's harder to launch, easier to launch, all that stuff. I mean, if you use your eyes, it's pretty easy. It only gets nebulous with some of the buff dudes, but the really heavy dudes, you know that they hard as fuck to launch. So anyways, here's the thing. Fucking, that made people say, nah, fuck it, I'll just play with my friends. So the community was instantly shrinking. Also, after DOA 4, this is when Tomonobu Itagaki just really started, not making his bosses very happy by saying weird shit, which inevitably ended with him getting fired. He wasn't fired because he was a bad employee. Well, technically he was, but he was fired for refusal to do something he was told to do. So, to be honest, it's his own fault. That man is we don't talk about it here much, but that man was always eccentric, and he always liked to think of himself as above or better than a lot of his peers in certain aspects. Itagaki is a very eccentric and constantly arrogant man. You ain't got no reason to be a douche, especially late 90s, early 2000s video game era, because nothing he did was considered the pinnacle of any genre he touched. But there was never a time where DOA was considered the best fighting game. There was never a time where Ninja Gaiden was considered the best action game. And yes, I said action game. Character action game, people. I don't know what the fuck you doing, especially when you know it's the wrong term, so do not at me. And again, those games were good. They made money. But he's never the guy who led a revolution, defined a genre. He's never the guy that did anything more than, I'm going to make this one game, and then for 4 or 5 years, I'm just going to keep remaking it. Whatever guidelines or methodology he would use to create his stuff, I don't think he passed on everything because he probably wasn't expecting to be fired. But yeah, my whole point is that this is a franchise built up by an arrogant man who was allowed to have a lot of freedom and free reign. And at some point in time, it got to his head. Despite him, acting calm and trying to look cool in interviews and whatnot, actions speak louder than words. And he told his bosses, I don't want to make another Dead or Alive game. I don't want to make another Ninja Gaiden game. He meant it. He got bopped. So despite what he was suing for, which was supposedly just unpaid bonuses, this man literally fucking talked his way out of a job. So 4 is really where I think things went to shit. Because even though they improved on the tutorial and they really listened to feedback, because one of the biggest issues with 4 is that how it teaches you how to play the game and what you can do don't match up. And once you go to free step dodge and people realize this, some people were getting to a point where they could beat all their friends overnight just because they learned one mechanic that wasn't properly explained. So I'll say 4, because 4 was when the company had the most upheaval as far as the franchise and stability goes. Just remember, going from Dead or Alive 4 to Dead or Alive 5 was close to 10 years, if not just 10 years flat. Now let's go into our next topic, current public perception. Or what I mean by that is, do you think that they can somehow recover or fix their current public perception? I'm going to go first because my answer is short. No, they've spent years fucking it up, but they didn't spend years being notorious for their perception of smut. However, as of going from just 2013 to right now, it's only gotten worse, and they've even gotten banned from events and had to do public apologies and then backpedal on all of their, we're going to try to make this game more accessible in PG-13 bullshit as early as the first week the game came out. So, no. Now you go.
So, public perception. I do think they get a lot of crap for being really scandalous and short skirts and jiggle faces and all that. But that's it's a Japanese game. I'm not going to put it out there that Japanese are into that shit, but the Japanese are into that shit.
What you're trying to say is Japan doesn't really punish them for it or seem to even care about it.
No, because they do it in manga, they do it in anime, and the big H, so.
Oh my God, one day I'm going to sit down and show you the original Pokemon manga from like 1994 and 95.
But the public perception is different in both areas. So Japanese, it's perfectly okay to have a chick in a crop top with the boobs the side of my freaking arm, and over here, it may not be as acceptable. And over there, games like this have armor destruction, where lo and
Soul
behold,
Calibur.
their clothes are being ripped off and nobody's saying anything until it gets over here, and they're just like, oh, this is very not okay for kids to watch. Well, also, the shit does say rated T for teen, and some of the stuff that comes over here does get rated mature, and it's your job as a parent not to buy your kid this game unless you know about it. So the fact that you're putting your opinions out there because your kid plays it, because didn't do your job as a parent to research what you're giving them instead of walking into the GameStop. Oh, this is rated M for mature. Yeah, he can have it. And then you go and your kid's playing GTA 5 and beating the shit out of a hooker, and you're wondering why your kid is playing this game. I'm sorry, but you're a stupid parent.
Thank you.
And I don't see why it's the developers oh shit. I don't see how it's the developers' job to rein in what they're putting out because you don't want to research what you're letting your kids play. It's definitely not in their job description to be, oh, so I'm from Japan. I'm making Dead or Alive, let's go with like 8. And this lady literally comes out with tape on her nipples because it's okay over here, but I gotta put her in full clothing in America because Americans are too retarded to actually look up what a game is about.
Check the chat.
I'm still looking at the thingamabobs. What the fuck?
Yep, that is what Jesse looks like. And I'm probably going to put this on screen too. But yeah, that just for reference, that was Jesse in the 1990s children's Pokemon manga.
But yeah, it's not the directors, the publishers, the game creators' job to make their game kid friendly because you don't want to check out what the game is about. It takes a few minutes to look up, oh, what is this game going to be rated? Oh, there are other people playing this game, so I can get a little preview of what's happening in the game. If I just go watch a YouTube minute you don't even have to watch it for 5 minutes. You can watch it for a minute and figure out what the game is about.
Deep shit. I was saying.
So I don't think current public perception can be altered because there are always going to be those people that'll be like, oh, this game has shooting in it. Why is it so bloody? Oh, this game is about fighting and fighting for the realm. Oh, why did he rip his spine? Why did he rip his spine out like that? It's a game about a fight to the death. What part of that did you not understand?
What's the name of the game again? Mortal Kombat. Huh. I wonder how many definitions there are to the word mortal. Hey Google. Wake your ass up. Hey Google. Definition of mortal.
Here's the definition of mortal. Of a living human being, often in contrast to a divine being, subject to death.
Then combat with a K. The fuck you think was gonna happen?
Why is your Google British?
Because it's fucking cool. But yeah, we could literally rag on stupid parents for days because I just hated that the entire fucking 90s was about parents don't let your kids play this game. Parents don't let your kids play that game. Then you motherfuckers go and advertise and give commercials and tell people to buy those games on fucking Christmas season. Like, that always got on my nerves.
Oh, you mean like parents and their problem with Doom?
Oh yeah, that
the game's
problem.
Literally named Doom.
So in short, You don't think the public perception for DOA can be redeemed either?
Not unless people get smarter.
Well, that's nicer than what I said. Not by much, but nicer nonetheless. All right, so let me ask you, on a grade scale, ending with A plus, where do you grade Dead or Alive as an entire franchise?
So I give it a solid B.
I give it a C minus. Now let me ask you, why did you choose to give it a B? And please don't say for boobs. Please don't.
No, it's definitely not for boobs, but it is for the fact that it was a great technical fighter. Story be damn, cosmetics be damn. Is a great technical fighter, and if you want to learn how to play fighting games and to stream combos with things that are never built into the system, but the system allows them to happen, Dead or Alive is a game that you should play. It will definitely challenge you to be better than most people because there's some really good ride-on fighters out there. There's some really good real fighters out there, but getting through will fuck them all up.
Of course you would bring that shit up. Okay, well for me, the reason I give it a C minus is because Dead or Alive has the potential to swing either way. What do I mean by that? It could go into its technicality. It could hit that mark that it did with Dead or Alive 5 last round and improve on what happened specifically in Dead or Alive 5 last round. Bring back the fucking tag shit, by the way. Interest people and get more people engaged to train or learn new characters, Have the team modes come back because that inspires people to utilize more than one character. The reason I don't play just Kasumi like I used to in 97 or 96 was because there were modes where you can't just use one character, or I got curious about the various tag throws and tried to put people on teams to see what they look like in trainer mode and then say, let me see what this character feels like. That's been rolling over and down the block since and all the way down into 2020 for at least 10 characters in the game at one point. Just because I was playing the games back to back to back to back to back to back in chronological order. And since I was doing that, I had some rollover knowledge with my old characters. Then I learned what was different, but then I also incorporated them with other characters just because I got bored. Let me tell you something. When I buy a new fighting game, I don't care if I've played the old characters before. I'm going to try new people. Ooh, Kasumi has ponytails. I wish I had a long ponytail. If I play Kasumi in Dead or Alive plus, by the time I get to Dead or Alive last round, I will have played and mastered at least 5 to 6 other characters that complement Kasumi. Why? Because that one character is not strong enough to warrant a $30 purchase, a $45 purchase, and when they got to $50 or $50 purchase, and later on now basically damn near a $60 purchase. But I digress. They have the potential to go either or. They seem to be aware of their own image, claim they want to change it, but then they want a half step. That's why they get the C minus. If they kept all the good mechanics and cool things and features they learned and had in Dead or Alive 5 last round, put someone in charge who actually understands the fan base, not just perverts he can get money from, they could turn everything around. They could almost get what they used to have, which is both worlds. Look, people will buy and pay money for DLC for cosmetics. I'm not even mad about that. I'm not even saying it's a problem. The problem is how they did it and how greedy and malicious it was. They showed that they did not care about anybody else except the people who spend money after they already paid $30, $40, $50, $60 for Dead or Alive 6. All right, now going down the list, we've got our next and final speaker on the saga of Dead or Alive, which I hope they don't make a Dead or Alive saga. I can't imagine them in an RPG. The ultimate weapon is a fucking G-string thong or some shit. We've got one of the longtime players, much like me. Not as long as me, but equally, if not better. One of the older podcast members, and no, I don't mean age. I mean he's from year one. Say hello again to one of my old friends, Reggie.
Cool.
Before
Well,
titties.
Well, DOA basically, when it came out in '96, it was basically a Street Fighter alternative. And because as good as Street Fighter Third Strike and Street Fighter 2 is and all that loveliness, when the 3D era jumped off, it was just like, okay, we gonna, get away from Street Fighter. I'm about Shoto'd out.
Yeah, if I'm counting right, we're up to 8.
Yeah, about Shoto'd out. So you wanted something, that you could sidestep. And granted, Street Fighter tried it a couple of times. The whole EX Alpha, yada, yada, yada. But you got this game in DOA where it was faster and the movement was more fluid. And these characters were new. And to me, it just looked like it had all of the things that the Alpha series was trying to accomplish. DOA actually did. And the whole hold system and counter system was great because it was something, my young ass at the time could do. It was just like, okay, I ain't got to deal with all this pressure where we coming off of Honda Splash, low hands.
Yeah, right.
low hands slide forward.
Exactly. With the exception of being knocked in the air, there's almost no inherent situation you can't either evade or defend against.
Right.
And that's one of the true appeals to me, because as much as I love Marvel, as I mentioned earlier, literally, if you're in the air, that's 90% of the reason to get you there, because you can't do shit. And when you're on the ground, you still can't do shit. There are plenty of times where a simple light punch can lead to a touch of death in Marvel. And the easiest way to stop that, I say to myself ever since I was little, why don't they just do a counter or an auto or dodge ability like they do with Dead or Alive? And it never happens. In fact, they added the ability to hit your ass after you hit the ground again without you being able to do shit. And they got an instant recovery from MVC 1 and 2. So I'm sitting up here like, do they not understand that you can still make this game fun without making it lump-sided?
Busted. Touch of Death, Omega Red. Busted. Marvel Heroes.
But I hate thinking about Omega Red. He's always annoyed me.
Busted. It was, no. So the whole system was something that at least made people hesitate. Now, granted, to compensate for that, you still wanted to wash a motherfucker. You could still pop them up and get your juggle on, and they just had to hold that. Fair enough. But that was my initial appeal. But I deal with grapplers. So I like the fact that there were grapplers. Well, not only that, but it was a grappler that just wasn't completely at the mercy of all the Jikudos and all of the ninjas and all that. It's just like he had a decent shot, not like Geef where it's a video of Justin Wong on just doing Honda hands.
Oh my god, that is so hilarious.
And Zangief was just fucked. That was just it. And just hands. Geef can't jump it, and I get it. Geef is like the you in the game, but not really. Character in Street Fighter franchise, I get it. But at least the grapplers and DOA had a decent shot. Like, it was, at worst, you had like a 7-3 or 6-4 matchup out of 10. It
depends on the game.
It depends on how good your throw game is how good your whole game is.
No, I'm just saying, like the Ultimate Ninja, the Indal Ninjas, they didn't properly nerf him until 5. And for those who don't know, Hayabusa was top tier and annoying in literally every single game until 5 happened. Maybe Dead or Alive Dimensions, but 5, he was the only time they actually sat down and said, shit, you know what? Let's fix him. And for some reason, it actually stuck.
and even that was because his holds did significantly more damage because everything went into the Azuma drop. So okay, you got one busted character. Okay, every game has a few, but
Yeah, it's
for DOA to just really have that one as just like
even the fucking
I'll
boss
deal with it.
was low tier, which is weird because there's so
I can
annoying
deal
to
with
someone.
that.
That makes so little sense to me. Alpha 152, the boss of Dead or Alive 4 and 5, is fucking genuinely annoying and has the longest throws in game. Not to mention, if you're on a floor that gives you extra damage, you get that one throw where she punches you in the head, you might as well just put the fucking controller down and take a nap.
Right.
But when she's playable, Alpha 152 is not busted in the slightest. It's weird.
Once you figure out everything she does is high, and once she leaves her feet, her ass is grass. You pretty much all right. You are pretty much all right. So.
All right. Well, what were the best games in the series to you?
Oh, 5.
You didn't play Dimensions, did you?
Nah, I didn't
See,
like
that's
Dimensions.
why I think you're missing out.
I like 5.
Me too.
And I like 5. And this new one is grown on me.
What the fuck? Okay.
It's grown on me. It's grown on me.
Technically, we're not gonna
It's
go
grown
there.
on me. I like a lot of others. I hated it when it first came out. Like, what's with all these super long combos and juggles and blah blah blah.
No, that's
But
not my problem. My problem is the removal of features because you want to sell stripper shit. Not to mention they already stopped supporting the game earlier than any other Dead or Alive period. But we'll get into that later.
I get that part. But I'm going pure gameplay. It's just like, okay, I wasn't a fan of the supers when they first jumped off, but
I was, but I didn't like that. You had to lose all your
okay.
fucking health damn near.
well, it's like, all right,
I don't mind them being once a stage either. It's just the fact that you had to be hurt first.
right. I could deal with that. But yeah, I want to say 5. 5 is when I got when Base. Is that the first one when Base got the double power bomb? I think it was. That double power bomb is fucking great.
Yeah. Like, I don't understand why you have the ability to change the HP size. Every game has 1 HP size, but if you turn handicaps on, it changes them. They got 4 HP sizes, and that's stupid because, first off, the default one is small. So if you fight a grappler, they hit you twice and that's it. I have friends who tried to cheat and do that until I whooped their ass by literally just popping them in the air one time
Right.
like that. Like, I don't understand why you think that's okay. They're not going to let you do that shit in a tournament.
I get the whole. People just want to win, man.
No, I get it, but I don't understand who thought
the
small,
whole handicap
medium,
thing.
large HP bars was a good idea. Like,
Whenever I see handicap, I'm just like, oh, okay. You just need to feel accomplishment in your life. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. And you know what? I get it. Life is kicking your ass, and you just want to feel better
I play
than
games
someone.
to escape life. Like, no, you don't.
No,
playing
you want
games reflects your life, motherfucker.
no. You want to feel better than somebody else. It's
Exactly.
okay, and it's all
Like,
right.
it's insecure bullshit.
It feels better to feel better. I get it. Man. Now, this other question that you have for me. When did DOA go south? For me, it didn't.
Ah, shit. You're the only person I've heard.
For me, it didn't. Everything in the grand scheme of things that went south with DOA went south for other franchises for pretty much the same reasons. Like, at first I was like, oh, DOA on bullshit. And then Tekken got fucking Rage Arts and Supers, and I was like, okay, so this is just something
Yeah,
that's just
something
across
that
the
should have happened
board.
a long time ago.
Absolutely not. But anyway, it's fine. So on that topic, I pray that Virtual Fighter never gets supers, because to me it's like the last pure fighting game left.
I don't think it would get supers. More like it would just get a move that's automatically lets you hit somebody 5 times or something. like maybe a custom super, because they don't do that. Only Dural does things that would even be considered a super combo. Also, you got to remember,
Right.
dude,
Boss character.
DOA 5, the Virtua Fighter characters had supers and it still fit.
And that's fine for DOA.
Pure motherfucker.
But if we can just keep that out of Virtua Fighter, I'd be really grateful. Thanks, guys.
You gotta pray we can get a new one.
If it
Sega giveth and Sega taketh away more than
if it has some BS super in it or some BS comeback mechanic, then I'm going right back to Final Showdown. Sorry, it's customization makes it fun anyway. So
I just wish it was on newer systems.
That's fine.
Or PC, at least once.
Now, currently DOA is niche fans like every.
Are we talking current public perception? Or are you still on going south?
A little bit of both.
Okay,
Current public perception.
Technically, I have to announce when you change topics, but if you're gonna transition into one from the other, just let us know when.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. But yeah, I don't think it went south for me because a lot of games just it's getting rid of fan service and the boob jiggle because people complain, and the people
They didn't even get rid of it.
the people that complain are people that don't even play the game anyway.
Bullshit! I complained about it.
No, this whole take it out. It's just like
Well, see, I don't care about it, but if they said that they're going to change their image and then they lied about it and then fix it after the game comes out, that's when I have a problem. That was my issue. Like, don't half step.
like anything in games, just make a switch. Just put a switch on it. You can turn it on and off.
That.
That's what I'm saying.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's not my issue because we already had. That's why I stopped giving a shit about titty jiggle. But the thing is that they said they were literally going to correct and fix their image so people understand we want to sell a fighting game and we're going to alter things. That was where they fucked up. If they just kept on lying or ignoring the fact that people even gave a shit, that wouldn't have even bothered me. You don't just touch the fucking tip. You got to go down the whole shaft. And they said, nah, I'm going to just look at it. That's what happened. Fuck.
No, I mean, you say a lot of things, but it's a fighting game. It's supposed to be toxic. I mean, they got ninjas and wearing some of the most impractical stuff. So, and then they got
Hayabusa's pretty practical.
And then they got a swimsuit volleyball game, and I'm just like, what do y'all want?
Yeah, exactly.
Just play the damn game. And it's not like there aren't any other viable good 3D fighters out there. There are plenty now.
Yeah.
So
my thing is that none of them played like it, and also even though the outfits were there, people already knew going in. Look, you can make your character look like a stripper, or you can play the game and look like a stripper. That was it. Again, that's not where the problem came in for people like me. It was just the fact that they said we are going to change. We acknowledge the bullshit that we've done, and it was all a fucking lie, and they don't want to tell nobody till after the fucking game comes out. You were trying to milk the system, and you failed.
Nah, I guess, but PC culture is another topic
Yeah,
I'm not going to go
PC
into.
people are PC people. I'm just talking about from someone who's been playing the game for literally over 20 years.
PC people are some of the
not
fakest
give a
people in the universe.
Thank you. I didn't give a shit about titty jiggle bullshit after the second game. And even then it was just like, I haven't seen titties yet because I'm like 6 when this shit came out. And that was the last time I cared. But then when they said, oh, we're changing that shit because we want to be a respected fighter. Oh, okay, cool. Then they got kicked out of Evo Japan. I was like, yeah, y'all fucked up. Y'all done. Y'all doing the same shit.
That shit irked my soul. We want to be a respected
I can
fighter.
search the web for that. Just tap the search chip below.
Yeah, I don't know why it does that. It's not broken, but apparently sometimes it thinks it hears the word okay Google and loses its shit.
My apologies, I don't understand.
Shut up. Understood that. Sorry, guys. We're having a British Google malfunction currently.
Feds watching.
They're watching niggas in this
They on your phone. Hey, do you think Trump? All right. Trump ain't thinking about us.
Exactly.
I don't even think it's 9:44 in the morning. I don't think he even awake right now.
No, he is. He's eating his breakfast and taking his morning nap.
I don't think he's awake right now. I just
sunny side up egg.
I think people that work for him are awake right now, but I don't think he's awake right now. No, nah. Anyway, let's see. You go to the next topic if you want.
Okay, so that PC culture shit leads us directly into current public perception. What do you think it is as a whole currently?
I just think it's just another.
Speaker.
I just think it's another one of those niche fighters that has an audience, but it's not all loud, wild, and in the forefront. Like it doesn't have a cult following, and I think DOA's audience is about the same size as the Street Fighter audience now. The difference is Street Fighter is always in our face because Capcom spends the money to make it so.
And they sell toys and kids' meals and
Exactly.
shit. Merchandise.
That's the difference.
Capcom loves merchandise.
That's the difference. But I think you'll find the same amount of people. Well, no. Now, if we go to Capcom, that's cheating. It's more than one game. But if we do just Street Fighter, I think them and DOA have the same size right now. I think it's the same amount of people playing DOA and streaming it as it is playing Street Fighter and streaming it. About the same now, because Street Fighter 5 fell off hard.
Oh yeah, they literally had netcode that was so inconsistent. Professionals who play the game for money said, fuck it. That was hilarious to me. I've never seen no shit like that.
Yeah, that was hilariously tragic.
So, do you think they got a shit perception, or you think they got a decent perception?
Decent.
Wow.
I don't think it has a shit perception. Again,
Man, you should have been here day one of recording.
I don't think it has a shit perception. I think it did upon launch, but as time went on, people get over shit. You know, the pendulum kind of balances out.
You say that, but 3 weeks ago they confirmed that they are no longer going to update the game.
Yeah, because they're going to get started on the next one. You got to think, man. DOA been out for a while now.
See, here's why I don't subscribe to that theory, because every Dead or Alive since 3 got post-launch support over 2 years. 5 got the most. 5 got 5 years of support.
Mm-hmm.
And here comes this one. But that's going to lead into one of our later on things. All right, so as far as a grade score for the franchise, what would you give it? Like, A plus shit, and please don't say no S bullshit. No. That gets on my nerves.
B, solid B.
Well, close to my grade. I gave
solid
it less.
B. Solid B.
Okay, now why did you give it a B?
Because 5. I just go by the game before. It was like 6 had all its issues, but 5 were fucking dope.
Oh, dude, I played 6 for 30 minutes, realized I couldn't do tag, and I literally went back to 5. And then I noticed that they had stages that they could have easily put in the game, and they put them all in one stage, and you have to fight just to get to that part of the stage. And I was like, motherfucker, so you're not even going to make stages now?
I get it. So it's just like...
It's like half of the appeal.
5 was dope. 6 was bad, but 6 was ass in comparison to 5. So it just brought down that A grade to a B.
Okay, well, let me ask you something. Given the fact that, and I know it says clothing savings, but this is just what I ask people in general. Given the fact that every Dead or Alive after 3 considered, post-launch alterations, updates, whatnot, making it a better game, even if they didn't add new characters, but they'll always add costumes. Do you think that the reason that they stopped is because they couldn't get past their negative perception that they themselves did to themselves? Or is it a secondary factor like they're already working on 7 because everything that they wanted to do image-wise for 6 was a complete and total fucking disaster? Or do you think that they just have to stop because Koei Tecmo decided, you know what, we fucking this up, let's go make a new Ninja Gaiden or do something else?
Right. That's the third one. I think they just wanted to move on a little bit faster than 5.
Dude, they had 4 season passes in 2 years. No, that is stupid, bro.
Yeah. They tried to milk the season pass system, which I don't understand why any fighting game would do that.
Of course you do. Because Koei Tecmo doesn't care about getting a good game out. They care about getting money.
I get that. But if you're gonna, it's just one of those things where if I have a store and you want to buy something from my store,
right,
and the whole time you're in my store looking around, I just keep saying "fuck you, pay me," and hurry up and buy, and "fuck you, pay me."
Yeah,
hurry up and buy.
Dude, exactly.
So that's where I think they fucked up, and that's why I'm not a fan of the whole season pass thing. Like, I get it, you want to get money for post launch support. I get that, but I would do it kind of like Smash did it. Smash put like, look, this game ain't out yet. It's gonna be post launch. It's gonna be DLC.
But you know,
this is how much it's gonna cost.
Yeah,
we gonna put everything out. And hey, this is what it is. I love Smash for that. This is what it is. You like it, you know. Hopefully, we'll get your business in the future. But if not, this is what it is. I respect the fact that Smash puts everything out on the table. I get that. Where Street Fighter is gonna be DLC characters. We don't know how many. It might be 2. It might be 12.
But hey, here's these 40 costumes that you could win in game or buy. It's up to you, bro. We don't care.
It's like you don't have to buy, fight money to get costumes, but you gonna be a grinding ass.
But to be fair, I don't mind that because to me, that's how DOA used to do it any fucking way. Think about it. You had to go to arcade mode. You had to keep beating different difficulties. So you improved yourself at the same time. And so that doesn't bother me as much.
Right.
But just Koei Tecmo has no idea what the fuck they're doing.
They got greedy.
It's almost $1,300 if you buy all the DLC.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last one was
greedy.
like $1,800?
They got greedy.
Jesus Christ.
They got greedy.
What is it? It's over 200 outfits and not one and only 2 stage DLCs for DOA 5. DOA 6, there are no stage DLCs, but I'm pretty sure there's more than 200 outfits. And I'm just sitting there.
Madness.
Yes.
Madness. They just got greedy. So you need to go back to the drawing board.
At least Capcom pays people to make it look like they're not.
Well, at least Capcom has a tournament scene to support. So you can kind of see okay, well, the Capcom Cup thing going on. They got to have prize pools, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah,
so you can be like, okay. But DOA was just like, no, there's nothing. They tried to do the Capcom model without having as many things to see as Capcom. So at least you see the toys and the BS movies and
their job is to franchise it out. That never changed from the minute the 90s happened.
Stay in your face.
Darkstalkers, the cartoon, sucked because Capcom just said, hey, here's money, make a cartoon. And the people making it didn't know what they were supposed to do. And Capcom didn't care. They just said, make a cartoon.
Right. Keep it in your face. This will get us to the next game come out. And then Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite happened.
Well, yeah, but that was...
But even that served its purpose.
I mean, they did refine it, but still, the problem was that it looked fucking ugly. But Marvel itself, fuck that shit. They really did, and you know, cause the dude who played V in Devil May Cry 5, he's kind of sort of snitched that there's something new coming, but it's too ambiguous because people forget they also have an all-star Capcom card game. He could have just been doing voices because he's going to be the next character. It could be a new Marvel vs. Capcom, or it could be that those are really the only two options. If it's not Marvel vs. Capcom, then he's going to be in their new digital card game. But either way, fucking, I hope they fix this shit because I'm tired of Disney not understanding that Marvel's biggest franchises and properties and sellers are not just movie shit. It never was. Kevin Feige knows it though. And I'm glad that Kevin Feige on some level is in charge of Marvel's comic department because even though he's not a comic book writer, he knows that the Avengers were like the B- team of everything. Yeah, the Justice League is cool, but the Avengers did not compare. It was X-Men, it was Fantastic Four, and maybe if you're lucky, some people had a really good writer to make an individual story. But as far as teams go, it was X-Men all day, every day. In fact, Wolverine merchandise still sells comparable to Batman and Superman, and Spider-Man shits on everybody. Like literally.
Definitely agree. It was just crazy though. Like how out of all of the teams to not be able to be in Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. How do you not have X-Men?
Dude, it was all Marvel. They literally told them, hey, we only want you to use this shit. Even though they could go to Fox, because remember, at this point in time, the merger, it didn't happen, but Fox knows how to play ball like they did the last time. Mind you, the Fantastic Four got completely cut, and they said that was a Marvel decision because you know how petty it is with that Ike Perlmutter dude. But they got Super Skrull, which is the next best thing.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very unique combination of funny and sad when that happened because
Zero is even worse in this game, but no one's playing it. And
right.
I love Zero.
It's terrible. We brought back Mega Man X. Mega Man X was trash,
dude.
Compared to Zero,
he was so easy. And they fucked it up. Here's literally only one of 3 keep away characters for the entire game, and we decide, you know what? Let's give him a super combo where it only does damage worth a damn once you trip somebody or if they're jumping at you. But if they know he can do that, why would they jump?
Trash.
I wanted to love you, X.
Trash.
They even gave him the DLC outfit that I actually wanted because Command Mission, the outfits were just cool in Command Mission. Zero for some reason didn't get a new outfit, but I'm just sitting up here like, why is it so hard for them to make X cool? It's not that hard. X only needs to do one thing, and that's shoot from a distance. And he has a slide and a punch and a kick. Bro, first off, just make him a Shoto clone. He could have been the only Shoto clone that actually had his own moveset. Because remember, he does get Hadouken. He does get the Shoryuken. He didn't get a third move, but he got Hadouken and Shoryuken as a basic. That could have been super combos for him. Holy shit.
Mega Man X and Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite had all of the worst parts of Zero.
He could have been easily a tier character.
He had all of the... It was just like, okay, we're going to add Zero to this game, but we're going to add a really, really shitty version of him.
He even gets a Z-Saber in X5. They could have made a combo where Zero comes out and they just do team sword fight bullshit. And how is it that fucking Winter Soldier and Captain America get a team combo but no one else does? The whole game, just those two?
It's for the movie, man. Disney, like, look, put this in the game.
Yeah.
Bitches. And then they just laugh.
Dude, I'm telling you, like, you can tell Capcom wanted to just, they wanted to bow down to their master in this case, and they didn't have to. All they had to do was
kiss
say,
the ring that is Disney.
Dude, they could have literally said, you know what? We'll just go to Fox and use all the Fox characters and call it X-Men versus Street Fighter or X-Men versus Capcom. You forget we used to do that shit? Dude, but apparently no one thought about it. Capcom's like, oh, well, these characters probably make more money because of the movies. Like, no, they don't make more money. The movies and the franchise makes more money. But Iron Man is not popular enough to eclipse what is the X-Men.
My issue with Marvel vs. Capcom on the roster side is if you knew you had all of that issue getting the Marvel characters, it's like, okay, cool.
Oh, yeah.
I personally,
if you use these, don't touch the X-Men. Fuck you.
I would have just said, fuck it. It's just this version is just going to be really Capcom heavy, and just been like, fuck it.
No, because see, if it was off balance, people would say shit. They should have just
That's
said,
fine.
Let's go to Fox and let's go to
That's fine.
Whoever had the licensing for Hulk, because dude, they're nice to everybody.
That's fine if they wouldn't have gotten all of the Marvel characters and they could have just said, look, talk to Marvel. They said we can't have this character, this character, this character. Instead, they had motherfucking Combo Fiend trying verbally clean shit up.
Please pre-order the functions. Like, they're just functions.
Magneto is a function. Oh.
Bruh. No, when someone made a mod that turned all the characters into functions, did you see that shit?
Yeah.
Here's the funny part. That actually made the game harder.
Oh.
I swear to God, if this bitch get one more time.
Mr. Rojas, did they really do you like that, Combo Fiend, bro? Man, I get it, man. We all need a paycheck. I get it.
He didn't need that paycheck.
Yeah.
I mean, he ain't run a tournament in forever, but he ain't need that paycheck.
Oh, no, man.
He had a job and a career. Like,
oh, no, man. Disney money long.
Yeah, but Capcom the one paying that bill. So.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
They could have fixed characters that they fucked up in the last game. Like, She-Hulk is Universal Studios or somebody who isn't Fox. They didn't even think to go get She-Hulk. Or like, bro, first off, She-Hulk didn't even suck. The problem was She-Hulk was in a game that wasn't designed for the type of character she was.
Right.
Think about it. Ever since 2, or really just 1, all the grapplers are fucking gone. The fuck? You know her?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Not gonna go there. The past is the past. I ain't bringing up bullshit. Don't worry about it. Alright, well, I mean, we could talk shit, fight game turkey all day, but yeah, you got any closing statements, or if you could tell the DOA developers one thing for the next game, if we're even getting a next game, what would you say to them?
I'd say the same thing that I would say to Team Ninja about DOA. Sure, why not?
That was a highlight.
Sure, why not? Because the tag team throws
Staple.
were kind of dope.
Okay,
cool.
The bad part, they never made new ones.
That's fine. But just don't get greedy with DLC. Just don't. Just don't.
The one thing they won't listen to.
Just don't. I get it. You want your post-launch money. I get it. We all want the extra bread, but don't get crazy. All right. And if you are, take a page out of the Smash Brothers book and just put it all out on the table. Like, hey, this is how many characters we intend to add. Hopefully we'll be able to do more. This is how much it's going to cost. So if it's going to be that initial reaction, you get it out the way early. Like, consumers still respect honesty. They still respect honesty. So just, even if you gonna be slightly greedy, if you be upfront about it, the people that's gonna leave is gonna leave anyway. And the people that's gonna be loyal is gonna be loyal anyway. But the people that were on the fence are gonna be like, well, okay, fine. That's it for me.
I already made my piece, but you weren't here for it. But I'm gonna just say this, just a small recap, because I don't know if you're gonna even listen to the whole video when it's done. Hey, new idiot, ugly motherfucker running Dead or Alive. What? Look, I've already established that I don't hate him because of how he looks. I hate him because of what type of person he is. You can be ugly without being, ugly.
Okay.
Hence,
okay.
For example, Kardashians. Anyways, Don't lie. You know they're fucking disgusting souls.
Um,
So he made a statement after the game came out, and it was basically some form of attempt of an apology or explanation or whatever the fuck he wanted it to be. It was the opposite of. And it went something like, I understand people's frustration with how the game is being handled, but you have to understand there's a set target market and demographic I have to make sure that we take care of first, because there are things that people expect from Dead or Alive. You and I both know what he really just said. He said, hey, I actually wasn't going to fix anything. This was a lie. Sorry, but we don't care about new money. We want that old money from dirty-ass perverts who may not even really play the game that well or that much. And it was dumb because, first off, no one said don't make outfits. No one said take out tag mode. No one said don't make no new stages or put a bunch of old stages in one stage. No one said that. But he went out of his way, and so did they, to say we're going to do better, we're going to be better, and it was always a lie. That was the problem. He didn't apologize for his lie. He tried to give a reason for the lie. That doesn't mean that you're excused, motherfucker.
Fair enough.
Snake,
you're absolutely right about that.
The worst
part.
type of snake oil salesman is the one who thinks that selling you it wasn't a bad idea. That's how I look at it. It's not the person who lied and put it on the bottle or charged you the fee. It was the person who didn't think it was a bad idea. Like they feel like they didn't do anything wrong.
Yep.
All right, that being said, this next episode of Franchise Review is officially over. There won't be any more guests. This is going to be a bitch to edit, but enjoy the fight game footage. You got any special place you want people to check you out, or you don't give a shit?
No, I'm out here. I'm out here on these streets.
Okay, hey, hit Alt Tab, ALT and Tab, and Tab, right?
Oh, okay. Got it.
All right, now hit the stop button.